This is, I haven't done an X space in a while, but I'm excited to do one today. Of course, my name is Ann Curtin, the Wall Street coach. I am going to start to do these every Friday, probably at market close. So this can really just offer some tools to all the traders who are, coming to the end of their week, realizing that perhaps their emotional intelligence wasn't as strong as it could be, and hopefully give you some tools to increase your emotional intelligence. I haven't used the camera for a while on X, so it looks like I have a double image here, which I can't quite figure out how to get rid of. But perhaps someone, when they uh, come into the room, can tell me. But perhaps it also is changed now, where that is for a guest who comes in. I sure as heck hope so. Also, I'd like to just open with thanking our sponsor, Centerpoint. I'm going to attach a special link for those who want to check out uh, Centerpoint, because they have given me and my listeners a special link that will give you basically a great deal for a good solid 2 months. And I really hope that you'll, check that link out. And if it looks like it's a match for you, to take it on and see what they're all about. I've told you guys over and over again how incredible they are. And there's only one way to find out, and that is for you to work with them. So I hope this link encourages you to do just that. So I'm just putting up that link now on X. Thank you to our sponsor. And please just know, whether you're listening to this, as a recording later, that this is ultimately in service to you. This is in service to your trading. This is in service to your emotional intelligence. I want this to be a safe place where traders come to basically get the opportunity to just discharge at their struggle that week, at the different challenges they found themselves up against. One of the things that I think is really hard about trading is how lonely it can be, how isolating it can be. So, my hope is to create this opportunity where traders get to hear other traders with the struggles that they have, with the challenges that they have. Because when you have the experience that you are not the only one who's going through a challenge, when you have the experience that you actually have a bunch of company who struggle along by your side, I think it makes a huge difference. I think it helps traders to start to realize that the things that they are being stopped by are actually things that are quite common. So, E, I'm glad you're here. Looks like it's just you and me. I'm waxing on anyway, because I'm going to use this recording hopefully to share to other traders. But uh, feel free, if you want to ask a question, or if you want some one-on-one coaching, to just unmute your mic. I'll invite you to speak, but you don't have to if you don't want to. You might have just been coming in to listen. But I did send an invitation in case you do want to come in. And if you do, then you can come in and ask any question you have around the emotional intelligence side of trading. That is what I'm putting these forward for. So, yeah, you're like, oh, I'm the only one. What the heck? But sometime, I think I probably should have done this about a half hour earlier. I think it's probably better when people are closing up the day, but this was the earliest I could come on today. So I'm going to try to do this every Friday, hopefully a little bit earlier. So at market close, traders can come over here and get some support. So what I was just saying was that my hope is that this gives traders an opportunity to hear other traders with the challenges they face. Number one, to not feel so isolated, to not feel so alone, but also number two, to perhaps get some tools around how to increase your emotional intelligence and how to address the places where you feel stuck. So, it's up to you, but if you do want to come in, you just, come on. If I sent an invitation to speak, and I'll send it again in case that didn't go through. But again, you don't have to speak if you don't want to. But if you do want to ask me a trading related question, then feel free. You can also put it in my DM. I have my laptop open as well to look at the DMs. Uh, so you can ask it, privately, which, right now you're the only one, so it wouldn't be that private. Or you could ask in X format as well. You can just respond to the space and I'll see your question there too. So, yeah, let me know if there's anything special you want me to talk about. But if not, I will just wax on with a couple of things that I felt. I come to these conversations always for people to ask their questions, their coaching questions, or to have one on one experience with me. But if nobody does ask, we had 100 people in my YouTube live the other day, and nobody really was asking questions. So I do come prepared with topics, but as I want to remind everybody, you also can, prior to these conversations, um, be able to call in a voicemail and leave your question there. For some people who prefer anonymity, that might be an option as well. So let me just put on this recording now that you guys can call this phone number, and I'm going to give it to you right now: 646-828-7736. That is the trader voicemail that I've set up that will allow you to text or to leave voicemail of your trading challenge. And that will be sent to me. And then prior to I do two YouTube lives, Tuesday, Thursday, almost every Tuesday and Thursday. And then almost every Friday, I'll be doing these X spaces. So what is that in service to? It's in service to you guys calling this phone number so that you can leave your challenge if you rather have privacy, if you don't want to be on camera, or you don't want to, have to ask in person. So here's the trader voicemail for your issue. I'm going to put that up now for your trading EQ issue, trading EQ issue that I'll answer. Let's see here, answer every time I do the live coaching. All right, so here's the topic I'm going to speak about today, because I don't see that you're going to be giving me a question or coming into the conversation. But if at any point you change your mind, just raise your hand and let me know that you want to come into the conversation. One of the people that I follow is a gentleman that I want to speak to. He posted something the other day that was really powerful, and I'm going to get that up here. Let's see how I can find that fast. So he posted this yesterday, and I really thought, wow, this is the heart of what I think a lot of traders struggle with. And this felt like this was such a great topic, even though it's not trader specific. I I kind of feel it is trader specific because of having coached traders for so long. The same questions obviously come up and up and up again. So here we go. I want to read from his post. He quoted somebody in his post, but it is so applicable for this level of confidence that I think a lot of traders struggle with, and a sense of like, when is it appropriate for me to trust myself, so to speak. So Jim O'Shaughnessy, shout out to Jim. I'm going to put this picture up on my X feed so you guys can go read the original post. Axel, it's good to have you here. If you want to get coached, just raise your hand and I can put you on speaker. Um, so, anybody here, remember, this is completely in service to you traders. You guys can either call that phone number and leave your trading EQ challenge there. You can come onto X and DM me or put it in a post, or you can raise your hands, guys, and I'll put the microphone on for you and I'll be coaching right here live. I'm only able to do this for a little bit today. So if you do want some coaching, don't hesitate to let me know that so we can get you right on the microphone. My name is Ann Curtin. I'm an executive coach and trading coach. It looks like your speaker's on. Are you here?
Yeah, hi. Sorry
Hi.
about I had some connection issues when you were
That's
talking to me
okay.
a little bit ago, and I was trying to figure
That's
out.
okay. No problem.
Yeah.
I'm just glad you're here. So, do you want some coaching today?
I mean, yeah.
Great,
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
But I just want to always ask. You give me permission to coach you. Is that right? And obviously, you're on a live Twitter feed, so just making sure you're clear on all that and
Oh yeah,
how I'm being
absolutely,
coached.
absolutely.
Good, good,
Yeah.
perfect.
Because
Hit me.
I originally found you through I believe his name is Brian Lee.
Yeah, Brian Lee, good friend.
Yeah.
He's been a
Um.
client of mine as well. Wonderful,
Yeah,
wonderful
and
trader.
yeah, and I think I saw one of you guys' interviews, and
Hmm.
And so I saw the kind of the name of the Twitter thing, and about self sabotaging, and I'm a futures trader,
Okay,
and so I specifically trade indices, pretty much ES, NQ, and sometimes like oil and different kind of energy futures, stuff like that,
okay.
but mostly indices. And I think for me, I think the biggest thing that I get hung up on is um, resetting after kind of like a loss when I kind of
Hmm.
um and getting myself out of going on tilt pretty much, right? And I think that
Yep.
like there's a lot of things that are kind of kind of generic that people tell you to do, but I still think that's one things that I kind of struggle with. And then I'll kind of um you know make a couple mistakes, and then I'll go back and be like, I felt like I had no control over myself or something for
To
like a
fix to fix the mistakes.
yeah, for
Yeah.
like a period of time, and then I dig myself into like a P&L hole or something, and then I'll have to
Yep.
spend the next couple of days kind of getting myself out of it. And so I think that's I don't know if you have kind of
Yeah.
um
So let me ask you a couple of questions. So, am I hearing you correctly that what's happening is you'll have this compulsion to fix your trading mistakes? Like, I shouldn't have done that. You see it and then you try to fix it. And it's in that fixing that you find yourself losing more capital.
yeah, so yeah, I
Okay.
immediately try to fix the problem when I
Okay.
probably shouldn't be immediately trying to do it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's just take that. So I'm going to ask you some questions that seemingly have nothing to do with trading. Okay.
Okay.
So stay with me. So let me just ask you, how are you in general in life with making mistakes?
I would say in general, I would say that I'm usually decently good at it. I would say I'm more of kind of on the not. I don't want to say like I'm a perfectionist, but maybe more on
Hmm.
that side of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
Um,
totally. So let's stay there just for a minute. So
okay.
what I'm hearing is, even if you wouldn't maybe use the full label of perfectionist, you err towards perfectionism.
Yes, I want to do well, present well, and get things
Yes.
done, and that's important to me. Yeah.
Yes, understood. And it's a respectable, admirable quality. And it can also sometimes be invisibly operating because um because of the belief systems that we possibly each have about what our value is inherently if we aren't perfect,
Yeah. Huh.
right? So
Yeah.
if our when we're kids, we all grow up in a certain kind of environment. And our God bless our parents, whether they did well at it or not, they did the best they could with what they
Yeah.
had, right? But we can often find ourselves getting into these experiences as kids where we get the message, whether it's intentional or not, that the more perfect we are, their acceptance, and let's just call it what it is going to be much more robust than it would be if we're causing, trouble every 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So that is pre then baked into each of us to, we're just so freaking crafty kids. We figure out fast what do we got to do in that environment to do okay. We
Yeah.
have to survive. We can't survive on our own outside of that household. We can't fend for ourselves, get food, have shelter. So kids are built organically with their DNA. Okay, I got to navigate this crew. So I'm going to put myself into whatever pretzel I have to and maybe sculpt off a couple of pieces of my authenticity uh, in service to just getting that love so I can stay here and get through the next 18 years. But what winds up happening is that what we had to do then to survive, and thank God we did it, and thank God you did it, and I did it. But now you're trading, and your trading is actually requiring you to not be anything like that. And it's
Mm.
like a bit, excuse my French, I do curse a little bit of a mind fuck,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Because you're like, wait a minute, this saved my ass for so long, and
Yeah.
now it's fucking me up. What
Yeah.
the hell?
Yeah.
But it's because you're kind of hardwired at this point. You're not hardwired, luckily, you're soft wired. You can rewire yourself, but it's going to take a minute. And I would highly recommend you try this rewiring, not in your trading first. I want you to take on this very bizarre homework assignment, if you're willing to, and go make a bunch of fucking mistakes that are low stakes in small places everywhere but you're trading. Here's what's likely going to happen, E. You're
Okay.
going to be triggered. You're going to be like, this is so uncomfortable
Yep.
because your whole nervous system is tied to perfection, feels safe with perfection. So, first, we have to get you to this point where your internal body and mind and nervous systems discovers a new story that, I made a mistake, but I'm still here. I'm okay. I didn't die. Nothing
Yeah.
hit the wall, right? Again, low stakes, but outside of trading. Do it there because the stakes are lower. Do it there because it's not going to cause an impact on your capital or your P&L. So I'm going to pause and see how is this landing for you.
Yeah, that was very insightful. Thank you so much. I definitely, I'll definitely do that because, like I said, that is really, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Especially when you like, describe like my nervous system is definitely wired that way, and that's definitely probably the biggest kind of hurdle because it that is the thing that just destroys when it happens. It just destroys my edge as a trader. Just absolutely, right?
I can tell you this is destroying so many traders' edge.
Yeah,
And I'm not just talking traders who are kind of like a few years in. This is still impacting traders at the top of their game who are making so much money, but they're
yeah,
still leaving so much behind because that perfectionism from our childhood is still in the background, in the unconscious, secretly hijacking them.
yeah. That makes sense. No, I'm definitely gonna do that.
Okay,
And to kind of tie it together, like, do you
sure.
think that there's um like a certain because in trading, right? They talk about like journaling a lot and different
Mhm.
things like that. Would you say that there's maybe after I go and do the homework assignment and do stuff like that, do you think there's like a way that I should be, I guess, a, writing my thoughts out throughout the day, b, kind of maybe doing it at the end of the day, but like, is there a certain way I should be doing it, or
I
and
no,
then
you don't.
what do I do
You
with that information essentially?
yep, totally. You want to start to notice. So I'm gonna speak to a couple of books here. You don't have to read them all, but these are the books that I've learned this stuff from for my own journey, for my own self. So I'm going to say the books, and then here's my recommendation. You look at the books, and then you pick the one that feels like this is the one I'm supposed to read now. And then you can read the other book another time. This
Yeah.
book is called Taming Your Inner Gremlin by Rick Carson. That book speaks to this inner critic, inner saboteur, inner gremlin, if you will. And Rick's best advice throughout that book is this is the key to dismantling this kind of hijacking. Simply notice, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to still be trading, even though I'm suggesting you do this homework assignment outside of trading. While you're trading, now that you have this awareness, just notice, oh, that's me and my perfectionism operating again.
Yeah.
Isn't that fascinating? And then write it down. It happened at 1 o'clock this afternoon. It happened at 8, you know, 55, like just
Yeah.
catch and write down how often. Don't make a big deal about it. And here's a really, really important part. Don't make yourself wrong. Don't shame yourself. Don't be like, what a fucking asshole I am. Don't say that stuff because that is
Yeah.
going to keep you from noticing it. If you made yourself, if your gremlin makes you feel like garbage for doing that, you're going to not want to see how often you do it. So
Yeah.
the key is neutrality
Okay.
and a sense of empathy for the fact that this is a compulsion right now for you. But
Yeah.
if you think back to you at 6 or 7 years old, that kid was just doing the best he could with what he had available
Yeah.
to him. And
Yeah.
smart you that you figured out, oh, if I start to act really perfect, that actually might make my life a little easier.
Yeah.
You're going to blame that young version of you for being so creative?
Yeah.
No, right?
Yeah.
So, whatever you're doing now is because that version of you from back then is still trying to keep safe.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So aware. Okay. And so it was called Taming Your Inner Gremlin, correct?
Mhm. Yep,
Okay.
yep. By Rick Carson. And I strongly recommend you go to my YouTube page and watch my interview with Rick because I do an
Okay.
interview with him. It's just, Rick the Wall Street Coach is my podcast. Look up, Wall Street Coach plus Rick Carson. I can't remember what the number episode it was. And watch that before you read the book because it's going to give you this kind of big picture vibe of what it is. And also here's another piece of advice. This is not a book you plow through. Okay. This
Okay.
is a book that's like rich chocolate. You're going to take small bites and then you're
Okay.
going to put it down and you're going to digest it. And you're not going to skip the homework at the end of each chapter. Nobody does the homework because it's a pain in the neck. Nobody likes the homework because the homework is forcing you to be with all this stuff inside. And everybody's like, I'll do that later. Let me just finish the book. No, you have to do the homework as you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll say this. I'll say that I am desperate enough to get this out of my trading that I'm willing to do the
Good.
homework.
This is
Because
the key to why this is why traders keep doing the same thing over and over again because this work that we're talking about here is uncomfortable. Like
yeah.
being with that trigger inside of you is facing a dragon of sorts, right?
Yeah.
And who the hell in their right mind wants to face a dragon? That is a scary,
Yep.
scary place to be. But let me tell you what is scarier. Losing all the capital you will continue to lose for years to come if you don't face that dragon.
Yeah, and that is and that's my biggest fear too, right? Is just continuing to, because it's like I go through phases of where I do well, right, and then again, I get myself into these P&L holes where the compulsion and stuff
Yeah,
like that, and it's just,
yeah.
yeah, it's a
So
nightmare.
it's short-term discomfort for long-term comfort. That's what
Yeah,
ultimately coaching is. That's ultimately what doing work on your self-awareness is short-term discomfort at the end of the day. What does somebody want to do? Kick back, have a beer, watch a football game. But doing this work instead is going to be initially like the discomfort when you first go to the gym. You have to build up your muscles of tolerance. And what's
Yeah.
so amazing is you will find as you begin to start this journey towards being with your, here's the thing, here's a secret. You're always going to make mistakes because if you're not from another planet, you are human and humans are fallible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Okay.
might as well get used to it.
Yeah. That's true for sure. Yeah.
Good job. Good job, man. Lot I laid on you in a very short amount of time. Please stay in touch. And I'll be doing these hopefully almost every Friday. And then I also do YouTube lives on Tuesday and Thursday. So you can always come into those too if you want to give me an update. I'd love to know how it goes. But again, take it outside of your trading for now. Inside your trading, simply notice when perfectionism is afoot. There's other steps you have to do as well. Obviously, I'm trying to just give you one thing at a time. But if you ever, of course, want to talk about coaching, reach out to me. I'm going to start a small group coaching. I'm limited to 10 traders. Usually I do one-on-one, but I'm going to start a small group probably mid-October. So if you want to be part of that, you can also just let me know.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested. I'll reach
Sure,
out to
you
you
got
about
it.
it. And just to
Yeah,
real quick, I would say that let's say that I do like let's say that I take a trade and it's 10:30 in the morning and I write down I'm feeling perfectionism right now. Would you say that as soon as I feel that, like go and take a walk around the block, or go in like or should I just kind of should I stop trading even if it hasn't affected me
yeah.
yet, or
I
what
mean,
do you kind of? Oh,
hell, if you're able to not allow that perfectionism to hijack you, absolutely do whatever you need to do that doesn't leave your account in jeopardy. I would
yeah,
100% say yes. Pause so that you can be with it. But and again, the timing of when you are going to be with it, you're going to have to judge based on how that trading day is going and what you've done with your account. But I would recommend, as long as your trading account is safe for you to do this, put yourself into a position emotionally, physically, away from your desk, like get up from your desk, go into another room in your house. You can walk if you're able to, but I would much rather see you be able to now. And this would be part two of what I would recommend to you. But let's get one thing
yeah,
done at a time. Is I will ultimately be advocating that you going to take sort of this metaphoric elevator down from your head into your body. Part of what this is about is you are going to have to learn how to emotionally serve the discomfort that your imperfectionism, your human being fallibility is triggering. And that is something that we have to do slowly because we don't want our central nervous system to be going on tilt. So the
yeah.
two questions that I will advocate to you that are uh, two that I learned from Raphael Kushner is what's happening now? Can I be with it? And sometimes the
Okay.
answer to can I be with it is no freaking way because it's
Yeah.
triggering me. My heart rate's racing, my eyes are dilating, I'm sweating. Okay, so you stay in it as long as you can and then you pull out. This is not for an hour. This is like 2 minutes, a 30-second, a 5 minutes. This is learning how to slowly, it's like exposure therapy, imagining the worst case scenario. Like, take this perfectionism. Like, there is a worst case scenario of you feeling there'll be a cost to you if you aren't perfect. What is it? What's the worst thing that could happen to you? What's the worst thing that could happen if you make a mistake? That is the
Yeah.
question you want to ask yourself. You want to take it in your imagination to the extreme and then watch your body light up like a pinball machine and surf it. The temptation in that experience, and I'll do it with you outside of this forum if we ever come together,
Mhm.
is it's really easy to go into your mind. Our mind is the place we sort of go to escape feeling. Most of us, especially those who perhaps are a little bit on the intellectual side or smart side, have a tendency, you know what? I can think my way out of this feeling. No, you can't. Nobody can think their way out of a feeling. You can only feel your way out of a feeling. But guess what? Feeling is uncomfortable. Feeling is going to set off a chain reaction of physiological things happening to you. And it feels uncomfortable. And you, me, everybody will be like, I don't want to feel this. This is bullshit. Get me out of here. So we go to our head and we start to think about it and strategize about it, but that doesn't get us away from what triggered us. We have to go back into the feeling, and it usually shows up in our body in a particular place. Lower back pain, stomach issues, tense jaw, shoulders, like someplace the body has the experience, and all it's asking for is us to give it some time to discharge. And
Okay.
this I learned from Peter Levine, who wrote Waking the Tiger. He speaks to the fact that the animal kingdom finds themselves in life and death situations all the time, and they don't carry trauma. Human beings, because animals will go and tremor and tremble and shake off and discharge. You know, if a gazelle gets away from a lion, it won't go back to the herd. It will sit behind a bush for hours if necessary to tremor and tremble out that race of near death. And when it finishes,
Yeah.
it's done. It has no PTSD because it's processed it. Humans don't process. So most of us are walking around with a whole bunch of stuck tremors and trembles, so to speak, that we've not discharged and also not healed. So when anything shows up that looks like, feels like, smells like, senses, seems like, we go back to a very old experience and find ourselves hijacked by that old, I don't want to feel that feeling. But the thing is, the very thing we're afraid to feel is the key to us being set free from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. That was, yes, that's interesting. It's fascinating. Um, yeah. All right. I'll definitely, yeah, I'll definitely do that
Okay.
homework and stuff like that, that you told me about. And I'll keep in touch with you and let you
Please,
know. And,
please let me know how it
um,
goes. But one step at a time, just start with simply
yeah.
noticing. Just noticing might be enough right now. For right now, right?
Okay.
You can simply notice in your
Yeah.
trading, but try to find ways, be playful about it. Don't take it too seriously. Try to be playful.
Yeah.
Like go lose a game of poker to a buddy who you always beat his pants off. Like go lose to him
Yeah. Yeah.
and make a bet on an Olympic sport before it's over with somebody and purposely lose. Why? Because I want you to just see, wow, look at how triggered I get when I do lose, when I make a mistake, when I
Yeah.
forget the milk at the grocery store. Look at how I talk to myself about it. That's what you're getting kind of investigating right now. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Good to
Yeah.
talk to you,
Perfect.
E. Thanks for coming into the room.
Yeah. I'll keep it. I'll definitely keep in touch.
Good.
Thank you for
You're
talking to me.
so,
I
so
appreciate it.
welcome. All right. Be well.
All right.
Aloha.
You too.
All right. I have just, let me just look at the time, guys, because that one's a little longer than I expected. So I just want to make sure I can stay on this call. I think I got like 5 more minutes. So if anybody else wants some speed coaching, and I mean speed, because I got like 5 minutes, then please raise your hand. Uh, and thank you all for coming today. I'm so glad that we had a handful of people join me. But I want to just really acknowledge E. And I would like everybody in the room, if you guys are willing to, I'd love you all to shoot him a DM if his DMs are open, or give him a shout out on if that was helpful for you. Because it takes guts to raise your hands, come into an open forum like this, and speak about a challenge that you're having. So please show your support to him, because I can't imagine everybody in this room right now doesn't struggle with the same damn thing. So, different degrees. Everybody's got their particular peccadillo or, kind of Achilles heel. But let's just show lots of support to E because that is what this space is going to be. So I'm setting the tone now, guys. This is going to be a safe place for traders to come to share their vulnerabilities and to actually share their wins because ultimately this is an isolating, lonely business. All of you guys need a place to come real. And I want everybody to support and encourage you people. Encourage each other, encourage your brothers and sisters in this space so that they don't feel so alone and so that you have a place to come and not be alone anymore. But I also want this to be a place where we can celebrate each other's successes. I understand there's a lot of bragging on Twitter, but at the end of the day, I know that that upsets a lot of traders because they feel like, oh, sure, you just show us the successes, you don't show us the downside. And one of the things Brian actually pointed out in an excellent X space that I did with him, if they haven't listened to, you should listen to it. I think it's a month ago. He was on my podcast, but we also did an X space. Brian Lee is always talking about the importance of managing your risk. And one of the things he always points out is that often a trader will show us oh, look at how great they did, but they won't speak to the risk profile that they are using. And that also can sometimes, sort of make a trader be ambiguous and understanding, well, how much risk was at stake here in the first place? And I feel that's unfortunate because you do all need to know how much risk certain traders take for the certain successes they have that you may or may not be up to, that your account may not be ready to withstand. So it's easy to, somebody sells their company for $22 million, and I'm somebody who looks at that and says, oh, well, I can't sell my company for that much. Well, also, I'm not probably spending the team what that company is. So just remember that too, guys. That's a great catchphrase Raphael Kushner taught me, one of my teachers. He said, compare equals despair. And it always does. When we compare ourselves to somebody else, rarely are we comparing ourselves to the exact equal. We're not seeing the whole picture. On the surface, especially on social media, on the surface, it looks like, oh, somebody's doing so well. But you don't know what the behind the scenes are. None of us ever do. So just remember that it could look like you're comparing yourself equally, but almost never are you actually comparing yourself equally. There's a whole bunch of things that people will allow us to see in public that they won't necessarily show us unless we're hopefully in a supportive environment, which is what I hope this to be and to become. All right, so had a lot to say today, apparently, didn't I? Okay, so thank you again, Eve, for being so vulnerable, coming into this room and being honest and authentic about your struggles. And I hope you guys will come back. I'm looking at, let me just take a peek at next week because I just started this week because I had a cancellation. So this window opened, so I was able to do this. And next week, 10:30. So right now, I think I have it like 10, 15, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm in Hawaii, so I'm 6 hours behind you guys. So I'm going to try to do this next week at about 4:15 instead, so we can do it closer to the end of business day in New York, Eastern time. Okay, so please keep an eye on the lives if you guys want to come into those. Tuesdays, Thursdays, I do them at different times each week, but somewhere a little bit later. I think Tuesdays are around 4:30 Eastern, and Thursdays I think are closer to usually around 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. I do those a little later on Thursday because my mornings are filled with clients. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Almost every Friday, I'll be doing this at about the same time. So remember, please come into these conversations with your questions, raise your hand and come in for some coaching, or at a minimum, call the phone number that I put out that is specific to trading issues. This is, let's see here. Oh, somebody just asked what the titles were. Okay, I'll put all the titles that I spoke to in the Slack, in the X comments, so you guys can see. I mentioned a few books, and the other book I didn't mention to you that I was about to when I said there were 2 books I was gonna mention to you, is the book that I was referencing about how we adapt in our childhood to our, family of origin, is The Drama of the Gifted Child, and that is by Alice Miller, and that book just helps us all have a little more empathy for the environment that we grew up in and how we had to kind of, sculpt ourselves to show up perhaps different than our authentic self to meet the needs that our caretakers had, and weren't in a position to kind of give us the attention maybe or love we needed. So we adapted ourselves. So the drama, The Gifted Child, is one of those books that helps us understand that. It's also a short book. It's not very big or dense. Um, Rick Carson's Taming Your Gremlin, uh, and watch the Rick Carson interview I did with him on the Wall Street Coach podcast because it's going to help you really understand what that book represents. And what was the other book that and I talked about? Peter Levine. He's the guy who wrote Waking the Tiger, which talks about the way animals process trauma and how humans haven't been taught or encouraged to do this. Um, and then who else? I, of course, mentioned Raphael Kushner, and Raphael Kushner has a bunch of books, but I would start with one of his books called The One Thing Holding You Back. All right, guys. Hopefully that was valuable for you all today. Please follow me if you're not following me already, but you probably wouldn't have seen this if you weren't following me. Please spread the word. Please tell your fellow traders that this is happening on Fridays so we get more people here to get the tools, hopefully, that'll help you all. You guys are awesome. I'm so inspired by you. I don't know how you do what you do. I run a small business, and that is freaking hard. So, no, thank you. That's why I give these tools to traders because I'm so impressed that you all are willing to take that on every day. It's the most competitive game in the world with the smartest men and women in the world. So, you guys clearly like to take on bodacious goals. So, look in the mirror at some point today and just tell yourself what a badass you are because you all are. Win or lose, green tea or red tea, guys. You are here. You're still standing after Monday. That alone should make you stop and pat yourself on the back. So good job and take care of each other out there. And I'll see you guys next Friday. Hooey ho.